Hi, I am Siddhant Soni. I am a front-end developer at Flipkart. The topic of my talk is truly cross-platform React Native. I will be briefly talking about the content that I'm going to cover in my talk. Any feedback will be highly appreciated. So let's start. React Native today. So React Native lets you build native mobile apps using JavaScript and React. It follows the philosophy of learn once, write anywhere, and serves as a render engine for platforms Android and iOS. So I'll also be talking about what all is possible with React Native today. But we at Flipkart had been asking this question, I'm sure you guys must be too, that what about web? See, if we can power two platforms with a single code base, can we also include web? Web being such an important platform, could we also power web with the same code base? So we looked at solutions. There were multiple solutions available in the open source world, but the solution that we chose to pursue was something that is very close to React Native, and it is called React Native for Web. So React Native Web is created by Nicholas Gallagher, who was an engineer at Twitter. React Native Web makes it possible to run React Native components and APIs using the React DOM. It builds abstractions over web APIs by using the same contracts as React Native. Write once, render anywhere is the capability that it gives us. So how does React Native Web work? So as I said, the React Native takes generic React Native components and turns them into a concrete DOM representation. So it actually has a one-to-one mapping between the React Native components and their corresponding DOM primitive components. So which precisely means is that when you write feature code and you use primitive components like views, texts, and images, so React Native Web provides an abstractions over these and converts them into their corresponding web components like div, img, and etc. So how do you integrate React Native Web with your application? So React Native Web integration is done during build time, and we at Flipkart use Webpack to build our mobile and desktop websites. So React Native web integration works beautifully with Webpack. All you need to do is add 3 lines of code to your Webpack config and you're done. So as you can see here, what you have to do is we have to add an alias for React Native and alias it to React Native Web. So what it essentially does is it maps the React Native imports and converts them into React Native Web during build time when we are working on the web platform. So that's it. 3 lines of code and your React Native code starts running on web. So next I'll talk about the Flipkart's venture into React Native Web. These are some of the features that we ship to production using React Native Web, like product reviews, grocery, Flipkart Plus experience, and Game Zone experience. So, React Native Web in itself is just a library that helps you render React Native code on the browser, but it takes a lot more effort to ship your code to production. Uh, so to integrate our React Native features, we needed tools. To integrate with our mobile website, we needed tools. We had to develop tooling to expose the feature inside the website. We wanted to provide a rich user experience by maintaining user info across features and context preservation. To support this experience, we created cross-platform wrappers that shared user session info between React Native web features and our website code base. So games was our first truly cross-platform feature. The UI design and layout was supposed to be same across all platforms, including desktop. So we launched 2 games on Android, iOS, mobile web, and desktop using a single code base, which was pretty amazing. So the challenges that we had before us while building games was performant animations on native and web, which we required, rendering SVGs with high performance, and React Native Bridge for web. So performant animations on native and web. This was a very big, it was a must-have thing for us because our games involved a lot of animations and we wanted them to be as performant as possible. So enter the animated library, which is designed to make animations fluid, powerful, and easy to build and maintain. React Native has this awesome animated library. This library comes out of the box with React Native, which renders animations in a smooth and performant way. The best part is that React Native Web also exposes the web implementation of the animated library out of the box. So we just had to use this library and the same code would run seamlessly on web as well, which was really good to have. The next challenge that we faced was cross-platform SVGs using React. So we wanted SVGs to be, so our games involved a lot of images, animations, a lot of images coming and going, and that's why we used SVGs because the SVGs scale well and do not pixelate on runtime. So we wanted the rendering of the SVGs to be very, very blindly performant because because it was a core part of the gaming experience. So we experimented with React Native SVG library to render SVGs across platforms, but we found the bitmap size to be very high for medium to large sized assets. This was on Android and iOS. The bitmap size was very large for big images, and there were going to be a lot of such images rendering on the screen at the same time. So instead, we used React Art to render SVG assets, which gave great performance boost in rendering vector images on both native and web. So next challenge was React Native Bridge for web. The native modules and bridge methods that existed in the React Native world were not available to us on the browser. So we went ahead and built these modules and bridges on web with the same contracts to ensure that the feature code is platform agnostic. So when a developer is writing feature code, he does not have to worry about which platform he's writing the code for because the tooling ensures that the React Native bridge has the same contracts across platforms. So, success story. The launch of these games made Flipkart the biggest gaming platform of India with over 42 million gameplays in just the last 3 months. And this was possible just because we were actually available on all the four platforms. So the user could choose whichever platform he wants to play the game on. So we were able to ship this feature to all our platforms with a single code base and was a highly performant gameplay across all platforms. So takeaways from our venture into React Native Web was the React Native Web enabled us to launch features to four platforms with a single code base, which was really amazing for us. Uh, Another takeaway is say yes to TypeScript. I'll be talking a lot about why TypeScript, why we prefer TypeScript over JavaScript, and all the goodness that it brings to the table, type safety, interfaces, and etc. etc. I'll be talking about them in detail. Uh, Next is we were able to achieve around 99% of code reuse across platforms, which was a very big win for us. React Native Web enabled us to use the awesome animated library provided by React Native to write highly performance animations in a declarative way. So we weren't able to use CSS animations out of the box, but we were more than happy to use the animated library to do the same animations because it was just so much better. We were able to leverage the performance of the style sheet API, which is faster than most CSS and JS libraries. So we didn't have any CSS files. Our styling was inside JS, and the style sheet API is very performant and made writing styles very easy for us. Yeah, so we can further invest in solving desktop specific layout switching during build time. So we are experimenting with the possibility of aliasing styles that are specific to desktop during build time, like and yeah, that is something that we can invest into. So thank you.